Hello, I'm Valerie McLennan. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever you may be. I hope you're well. This is my spiritual channel, Valerie Mac, Scottish, spiritual, and very funny, allegedly. Now, I hope you're well, and thank you for following me, ideally online, and continue to follow through 2026. If you're a new listener, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy, and may I ask you to revert back and listen to my previous podcasts. I think one was titled The Donkey and the Coffee or something. Something, earth-shattering along those lines. Please listen. I think you'll find it very wise. You may laugh, whatever. But if you've missed those, can I ask you to please revert back? I think there's a couple that I've uploaded this week. So if you listen to those after this one, ideally, that would be greatly appreciated. Now, so Sunday evening, don't know if you want to know what time it is. It's about 7 o'clock. Have you had your dinner? Yes, about 7 p.m. in Scotland. Don't know where you are. And I don't know what time you're listening to this. So you may be listening to this on Monday afternoon. And it'll make no sense whatsoever. But as we speak, or as I speak, in life today, this evening, it is 7 p.m. Thank you. I'd just like to give the time, when I am no longer on planet Earth. Oh, listen, she's very dramatic tonight. I am. When I'm no longer on planet Earth, someone may stumble over my podcast and say, oh, that was 7 p.m. on a Sunday. I miss her, do you? Yeah, so do I. Anyway, now, I'm going to start this evening with my jokes. I know sometimes I kind of lead you on that path and then I give you a joke or two. This evening, I thought I'd spoil you. Sunday evening, as I said, don't know, have you been a busy day? Whatever. I will try and keep my podcast to 15 minutes. If not, if it goes over slightly, I hope your concentration is improving and that you're able to kind of force yourself, or even enjoying it, I don't know, beyond the 15 minutes, wherever it may be. Thank you. Now, first little joke. Some of them, I'm going to tie it in with my lesson. I don't just give you jokes for no reason. No, I don't. The jokes are along the lines of the lesson, obviously, where I'll be going later in this podcast. Just in case you're thinking, very random. Excuse me, there is nothing random in my life or in my world. No, the jokes are leading me where I am going. Thank you. Now, there's a girl and she suffers terribly with kind of social anxiety, panic attacks. Along those, many people in life suffer from anxiety at one time in their life. Some people, when they're younger and they manage to kind of, manage it better and they might move on in their older years. As you know, generally, I'm generalising, many people in life, even the ones that you don't expect, the ones that you would think have got confidence oozing from every pore of their being. I know many who are managing an underlying anxiety a lot of the time. So this is where my joke is going. So even if you're looking at the world and you're looking at people and you're thinking you're the only one who suffers from panic attacks or suppressed anxiety, rest assured you are not. Many people that I know from all different walks of life, business world or otherwise, on the surface look as if they're very much in control, and they have for years and years been managing stress, anxiety, panic attacks. I just want to stress that because I suppose and I imagine if and when you go through those aspects of your life, different times in your life, anything that you're facing that's negative or fearful, we all tend, including myself over the years, we all tend to think it's only us. It's only nobody else seems to have this, and nobody else seems to go through this. We do. And I'm just stressing this at the beginning. If you are one of the people at this moment who suffers stress, anxiety, please rest assured you're not alone. Many people live it on a daily basis. But the good thing is, if you manage your mind, you can kind of work your way through and help yourself. Thank you. I'm leading back into my joke now. Now, there was a girl and she was suffering from kind of social anxiety and panic attacks, and she was going into a shop and she was thinking, oh no, and this has tended to be where she was worse. This doesn't sound like a joke, this sounds quite heavy. I'm leading you along that path, I know. So anyway, she wandered into this shop and it was a rice pudding shop. Rice pudding. I could just go rice, but I've not had rice pudding in years. Have you? No, neither have I. Anyway, She wandered into the shop and her heart started racing because as she was walking in the door, she said to herself, oh, I hope I don't have one of those horrible, she planted the thought in her own mind. Oh, I don't have one of those horrible panic. Oh, no, heart racing, awful situation. And she suddenly thought to herself, right, her name was Mary. It was. She said, right. So trying to get a grip of herself, she said, Mary, can you imagine if you die in this shop, what your obituary is going to be like? Mary died in a rice pudding shop. Now, she laughed. She relaxed when she made herself laugh by saying, this'll be you, you'll be remembered forever as Mary that died in a rice pudding shop. And suddenly, because she kind of relaxed, the moment passed, the panic passed, she laughed and she moved on. And no, she didn't die in the rice pudding shop. I know, my lesson is following, don't you worry. But it's amazing when you are talking to yourself in all of those situations over the years, when anyone goes through those horrible panicky situations, people then start to avoid them. I know people that had a slight panic attack on a train, and without realising it, they thought for a week or two after, well, that's it, I'm not going on that train ever again. And they started avoiding the train, but the train wasn't the problem. Obviously, it was inside their mind. Anyway, I'm going there in a minute. So if you like the sound of my lesson, please wait until I've finished my jokes. I know it's a joke, but it's a bit serious. I know. Hence, I'm kind of trying to cover my tracks because I don't laugh at social anxiety. Thank you. But anyway, it's funny how you can trick your mind into, oh, for goodness sake. Imagine my funeral notice. Oh, well, Mary died in a rice pudding shop. Oh, well, that's that. I'm not panicking. And here, I'll tell you that for nothing. Thank you. Now, the other one was a flight. There were 3 people on it was more than 3 people, but they were on a flight, and something happened to the engine. Can you imagine? Her stories are horrible tonight. Anxiety and plane. I know. Try being me. So anyway, on the flight, there was a problem, and there was only one parachute. One parachute. And there was allegedly the smartest man in the world. That was his title. There was the smartest man in the world. There was a religious leader, and there was a young boy. And they were sitting, and something happened, and all of a sudden, the smartest man in the world grabbed the parachute and jumped out of the plane. And the religious leader and the boy were left, and they were looking at each other. And the religious leader says, oh, well, looks like we've been left to our fate. And the boy said, no, Father, the smartest man in the world has just jumped out of this plane with my backpack. I shouldn't laugh at that, but, well, serves you right, trying to do that, trying to be like that. I know, he leapt out the plane, no consideration for anyone else's feelings. No, I'm away and farewell. Jumped out, and it was a backpack. I know, probably a bottle of water or something in it. I know, anyway, what else can I do? What's it all about? Anyway, do you know the other thing? This isn't a joke, this is just something else. I don't know what to call it. It's just something. You've maybe heard people over the years saying, I think there's actually someone who was well known with this saying, oh, I would rather die than speak in public. Do you know what I mean? The thought of speaking, public speaking, fills many, many people with horror. It does. And someone was meant to have been heard or said at one time, I would actually rather die than have to speak in public. Again, this ties in with, like a shyness or a self-consciousness, whatever it may be. There's something there. Someone said one time, I would rather actually be the person in the coffin at the funeral than have to stand up and do a eulogy. No, I know. And you said, oh, that'll be me, I know. Now, if you think about it, public speaking, do you really think the majority of people feel comfortable public speaking? It was actually quite funny. When I was young, I was very shy. Listen, I'm quite shy today, and even yesterday. It's not really my character is not really to be kind of there. And, I've worked at everything I do over the years. I was very shy. And you've got to kind of move yourself beyond or just remain stuck. And I do know people that say to me, oh, I could no sooner stand up and talk in front of people than fly to the moon. This kind of thing. Now, as I say, in life we're all playing different roles every day. I've said this until I'm blue in the face. I have. This is my lesson now. Thank you. You sitting? You listening? Thank you. If you think in life all of the roles that you're playing in a day, I've said this before. If you're a father, you're playing the role of the father. If you're in your office and your mother walks in, no matter what age you are, if you're in an office and you're a boss, say you're even in your 50s and you're a boss of a company, and for some reason, only known to yourself, your mother arrives in your office. I know, unlikely, but she has, for the point of my story. You turn around and your mother's standing behind you in your office and you're a 50-odd-year-old boss. You turn around, you see your mother. Now, without realising it subconsciously, you start to act like a son. Right, a second ago you were a boss, but you can have turned yourself into the son and you're talking to the mum. Then you go home. You may have children. You're suddenly talking as a father. Same if you're a mother. You're a mother. Then you turn round and then you're here. And then look at all the roles that you're switching all day. All day. And then people will say, oh, couldn't do this. I couldn't act. Or, oh, if someone asked me to kind of do an acting. We're all playing different parts in our life continually. As I said, if you're a mother, if you're a daughter, wherever you are in life, a boss, a friend, a colleague, look at all the titles you have in a day. And if you happen to bump into all of those people in the one day, you're switching, even if it's 5 minutes at a time. Boss, son, father, mother, switch, switch, switch. So you're doing that all day. If someone asked you if you'd like to be an actor or an actress or whatever, you would say, me? Oh, no. Now, keep in mind, I know where I'm going. Might take me the scenic route, but I'm going. Then I've had people over the years saying, oh, I couldn't stand that, standing up in public and people staring at me. I wonder if the person's listening. I remember somebody did say, it was quite funny, oh, would that not be, I would be cringeworthy sitting like if you were on a stage, because I did live theatre shows previously in my past life, a while ago, quite a long time ago, interviewing kind of well-known Scottish people. I did. And someone said to me, oh, is that not cringeworthy if you're just sitting and everyone, this is the way, I hadn't actually thought of it like this, everyone's staring at you, practically going to get their popcorn and just staring. Now, can I tell you something? That didn't actually enter my head that kind of thing was happening. Now, the other way I try and explain it to people is, if you are so self-conscious, it's because you're thinking, how great am I? Look at everyone sitting staring at me. Tends to be that my focus is not in that direction. Or you'd have to be very, very egotistical, I would think, to imagine that everyone is sitting staring at you. You know what I mean? I know, chance to be a fine thing. No, but some people do, they get so self-conscious. And if you break it down, the reason that, in my belief, I'm generalising, in my belief, the reason people feel that they would be really self-conscious, even going back to that joke, if they were at a funeral, a joke at a funeral, you know what I mean? If they were saying, oh, I would rather be in the blooming coffin than have to speak at a eulogy. Now, I find, just from people I've spoken to over the year, or in my own understanding, that's because you are assuming that everyone's attention is staring at you. That's not really happening. Maybe, well, it'd be nice to think people are listening. But, generally, they're not fixated and staring at you in that kind of a way. Who on earth would go out and speak in public if you were thinking they are all eyes fixed on my face? Nobody that I can think of would get up and volunteer to go, unless you loved the attention, unless that was your kind of thing, unless that was your thing and you wanted to go everywhere and get everyone to stare at. Well, I don't. A bit shallow, I would have thought. You'd prefer to think they're listening to what you're saying or they're interested. Call me old-fashioned. I would rather think they're interested in what I'm saying. They're listening to what I'm saying. They're not just sitting there staring at me. No, but you do hear this with people and it does cause anxiety. I've known people in the past who, I'm trying to be vague and tell you at the same time, they're kind of doing either, whether it's in business or wherever it is, they're standing, speaking in some form. And, it's not unusual. It's not unusual. I know. It's not unusual. Where did he come in from? I don't know. I'm not going to sing Green, Green Grass of Home. I like that. Some of those songs I quite like. Anyway, I know. You're not going to stand up in public and do that kind of thing unless you're very, very as I said, egotistical, full of yourself. Many people I've known, and well, I wouldn't say many, some are physically sick before they either speak in public or they do anything. Now, I'm stressing this point. Don't allow those kind of imaginary ghosts to hold you back in your life. A lot of the time, we do over-exaggerate it, or we think people are staring, or we're thinking this, or we're thinking that. As I said, I know people who are very, very successful in public speaking who do not feel remotely comfortable delivering the talk that they're doing, but they are working through it, they're pushing themselves through it. If you believe in something enough and you're wanting to share it, well, even like what I'm doing in the podcast, I will be taking it live to the public. You do have to push yourself through a barrier and stop just thinking, oh, well, everyone will be looking at me, If you've got a message that you're feeling is going to help people, or there's something behind it, unless you're doing everything from your ego, that's a different kind of level. You've got to work through it in life. Don't for 1 second think everyone's comfortable doing this. If you're thinking, that's what I'm saying. I've known people over the years that surprised me when I could see how uncomfortable they were before they were doing their presentation, before they were going to speak in public, before they were speaking in front of a group of people. They were borderline hysterical. But like most people, you get a grip of it and then you can just switch it on and you just deliver what you're doing. It's like walking, again, the only way I can explain this, it's like walking into another role. You're a mother, you're a father, you're a daughter, you're a son. When you're delivering this, if it's something you believe in, it's like stepping into an imaginary world, another world. You're kind of moving away from what you believe you are yourself, and you're kind of moving into this. The important bit is push yourself forward. Don't hold yourself back and think, oh no, that's where the dangerous bit is. If it's something you really want to do, don't allow the lack of confidence to stop you taking this step. Many, many times in life, whether it's public speaking or otherwise, once you take the step forward, you think, oh, gee, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. As I said, even the people that I've known over the years who are very, very uncomfortable doing it, there's no point. I would just personally, I'm a great believer in being as honest as you can. If I felt uncomfortable or if I felt I would sooner just make a joke of it and say, oh, and go with it. If you try and be someone that you're not, that's the point. That's the bit where I find that people struggle. If you don't really believe, if you're feeling uncomfortable or a lack of confidence and you try too hard to put on a front and an image of someone so far removed from what you're feeling like internally, that will crumble or it will show, and the people that are listening or the people that are watching won't see the correlation. They'll be thinking there's something, whether it's subconsciously or otherwise, they'll think there's something not right here, because they'll know the words coming out of your mouth don't match your demeanour. My whole point being, as I said about the jokes, people uncomfortable, and we can see if you make yourself laugh. This is me back to the humour. Like that joke there about the girl who did of the panic attacks and the stress, and she thought, oh, well, what a way to die. Mary, found dead in a rice pudding shop. Now, I use that kind of humour myself, and I've done it over the years. And I remember saying this years ago to someone. They were going for an interview, and they were borderline hysterical. And I, at that time, now I'm going back many, many, many years, and this person still thanks me to this day. I said, don't go anywhere in your life where you're just rigid with fear. Remember the person in front of you is a human being. I know they might be interviewing you. Do you think for a second everyone that's interviewing you is feeling 100% relaxed, calm? Everyone's got stuff going on in their own life. Just be honest. And it's actually a good way of showing your true self, whether it's an interview or going anywhere or whatever you're doing. I've done this for years, and I'll tell you the amount of people and the amount of situations that I have broken the whole back of by saying a kind of a one-liner or a joke. And the minute the other person laughs, you're putting them at their ease. I don't mean like a full joke, but like a one-liner. It kind of breaks the tension, even if you just said, oh, well, this is my favourite day of the year. Something to break the silence, the tension. There's nothing more helpful in life than using humour in situations that would otherwise be overwhelming. If you don't do it, this is my belief, generalising, is if you keep thinking in your mind and you're building up the tension in your mind and your body and your spirit, tends to come out in a kind of a panic. And then you start to speak really quick and you start to feel kind of hysterical and you just want this over and you just want to get out. And then you'll hear people afterwards saying, well, I didn't actually show myself at my best there, to be quite honest. I know that was because people get themselves so flustered, so embarrassed. Can you just remember, no matter who you're sitting in front of, no matter what title anyone has, it's only a title, it's only a badge. People maybe have sat exams, sat something, they've got a badge and a label. They're human beings at the end of the day. And from all of the people I've met in my life and all the different characters I've met and the different roles that they play in their life, the one thing that many of us have in common is that we're all working through different challenges, and different, as I said, maybe anxieties, maybe shyness, kind of underlying stress. Especially, look at the world that we're living in. There's never been so many challenges in life for younger people, middle-aged, older. Everyone is trying to muddle their way through. The point I want to make in this, if there's something that you want to do in your life, no matter what age you are, from the younger to the middle to the older, please don't allow lack of confidence or the worry of what might be, or what if it doesn't work? What if it does work? I know. What if it does work? People tend to go, oh, no, forget it, no, oh, no, I can't think of any more. That person has said, oh, I'd rather die, I'll speak in public. That's because you're putting situations in your mind, and we turn it all into ghosts, ghost stories. Many people that I've known in my life who suffer from kind of anxiety and stress, they've admitted to me over the years, the underlying issue there is they are feeling 24 hours a day, they feel from the time they leave their house, everyone is looking at them and judging them or looking at them for some reason, or judging them. They're highly, highly tuned into people looking at them. From the minute they leave their house, they're kind of self-conscious. They're looking around to see who's looking at me. And I did say to someone years ago when we were discussing this, they were asking for help. And I said, if you think of that in the reverse, you're very self-obsessed if that's the way you're thinking, because you're thinking that other people in the world, in a funny way, spin that around, you're thinking nobody's got anything else to think about in their day apart from stare at you when you leave your house. Do you know what I mean? Oh no. So in one way it's a funny kind of ego, isn't it? So people are thinking, they're so self-conscious, oh, I couldn't do that because everyone would be looking at me. But see if you turn it into a kind of a joke and a laughter thing, and what is it that you're doing that's so interesting? I did say that to someone. You can imagine me saying that, can't you? You can. I did. And we all laughed. We did. I said, can you tell me what you're doing that's so interesting that we're all looking at you? What is? Do tell. I seem to have missed, And this person kind of laughed. The minute they were going out, everybody wanted to know what they were doing. Everybody was watching them. It was an underlying kind of, stress thing. And I thought, well, do tell what it is that you're doing that's so intriguing, that we're all forgetting whatever we have in our day just to stop and stare at you to see what you're. Now, I'm not making fun of it. As I said, I was very shy myself when I was younger. Thanks. Well, I know. Quite shy now, talking about it. My point being, don't hold yourself back by thinking, what if it doesn't work? What if this? What if that? 9 times out of 10, people are living their lives. They have got the time. They haven't got the time to stare at you to wonder what you're doing. I know. They don't know. You're imagining it a lot of the time. That you're imagining that people are looking. See if people in the world. This is a good thing I'll leave you with. What time is it? Oh, yeah, you're still there? Thank you. This is a good thing to leave yourself with. If you're self-conscious and you're always kind of feeling on edge, what does it matter? If people are looking at you and you are thinking they're criticising you or they're looking for the worst in you, can I just stop there? Why are you wasting your time and your energy worrying about people who would be wanting to trip you up, hoping you're failing, looking at you to pick fault? Why are you wasting your time and your energy caring about what that type of individual thinks about you? There's many people in life who would lift you up and hoping you succeed and wanting the best for you. Focus in that direction. People that want to trip you up and fail, would do that anyway, no matter what you're doing. You give up on your dreams, those kind of characters will still be picking at the bones, no matter if you give up on your dreams. Don't waste your time on people, because in life, people that are sitting and they're judging and they're picking fault, they're not happy in their own life. Obviously, I don't need to be the top psychologist in the world. People who are doing that, looking for the worst, trying to pick the worst, trying to cause problems, trying to do that, they're obviously not happy in their own world, or they wouldn't be giving out that energy. Don't you absorb another negative person's energy as your reality. That's not your reality. That's the miserable person's reality, and leave it with them. Don't let it affect you. Thank you very much. Did you see the way I tied that in on my jokes? I'm quite impressed with myself. I am. Now, Monday tomorrow. That's funny. That keeps happening after Sunday. Since the day I arrived on Earth, that's week. Sunday, then Monday. Well, tomorrow's Monday. My tip that I will leave you on is, if you feel stressed, you feel anxious, anything like that, use a one-liner. You don't have to rhyme off jokes. If you're in a situation where you have to do public speaking or anything, lighten it up with humour. Remember, the people in front of you are not staring at you trying to pick fault. They're probably worrying about all stuff that's going on in their own life. Make them laugh. And the ripple is, you feel relaxed, and 9 times out of 10 you'll find that the stress and the tension leaves your body. You're not, the big ghost story you're telling yourself starts to disperse, and it's no longer the big scary thought that you had in your mind. Thanking you very much. 25 minutes. She's pushing her luck, that woman. I am not pushing my luck. Listen to all the stuff I'm giving you. Wisdom, jokes, advice. Please take it on board, because if I held myself back, if I didn't allow, if I had like shyness and every other thing, no, I'd push against all of that. And I think, no, any comfort zone that I have is something I've told myself, and it doesn't even exist. I've just told myself, there should be comfort zone there. I'm not walking out of that. That's invisible. That's just something. We're living in a huge, vast universe. If you've got a little comfort zone around you, you've told yourself it's there. It's not even there. Move beyond it. And, we're on Earth for a little while. Look after each other. Thank you. Take care for now. Bye-bye.